help. Maybe there's something that can be done, something that needs mending.
Have you ever prayed before?
I have not.
Come. She holds out her hand.
He takes it.
She, like, gently takes your hand. It's like, you know when someone gives you, like, the limp handshake? Her, like, the way she touches your hand is, like, so daintily and fragilely. She holds your hand, and she kind of walks you over to the front where you're now standing before this mural. The light shining through the armor of Helm, and it kind of glows upon you, and you feel the warmth of the sun. And before you is this ornate altar. It's laid in gold. In fact, you look around and it's the only thing that looks of value. Everything else is made out of wood. But this is the one thing that looks solid, like it won't fall apart, beyond the glass-stained windows. She kneels down on a little pew that's down below in front of the altar. And she kind of tugs at your hand in motion and points down at the pew in front of you.
He kneels beside her.
There's a railing that's in front of you, and you see her let go of your hand, and she puts her hands together, holds them up against the railing, and says, "You don't have to do it this way, but I find it comforting to grasp my hands together."
Buzz mimics the gesture.
You what?
He mimics the gesture.
You mimic the gesture. Yeah, you put your hands, you clasp your hands together and lean them up against the railing. And the both of you hold your hands there. And you look, she looks up. Some people like to look up at him. I prefer to close my eyes. It helps me think less about what is around me. And then she closes her eyes. And then I just pray. And just say, "Dear Helm, please guide us. Help us help the people around us. And perhaps you can grace this town, and the children shall return, the streets, flooded with prosperity and happiness for everyone. Amen." And she looks over at you and she says, "But you can pray for whatever it is that you want. Perhaps he will answer you."
He smiles and looks at her.
She stands up and puts her hand on your shoulder and looks down and says, "I'll leave you be. Perhaps being alone for your first prayer might be, well, I guess your second, might give you some time to think. Think about what it is that you would want to pray for. It's kind of therapeutic." And she smiles at you and walks away into the room to the left. Unless you stop her.
As she's walking away, I think that, but do I know her name yet?
No, you don't. None of you asked her name.
Yeah.
You're just like, how will you help my friend?
Boz says, "Wait. Your name?"
She stops and turns around. "Delilah. My name's Delilah."
"I am Boz."
"It's nice to meet you, Boz." And she smiles and, like, bows her head and walks away.
Buzz stands there for a little bit and eventually goes to start to pray.
What does Buzz do? What does he say when he's praying?
I think he mostly keeps it internal. Like he's just, for a while, he just thinks on it. But yeah, he does like the same gestures she showed him, you know, on his knees and hands together. I think he's praying for maybe guidance.
Like say your prayer for us.
All right. Home. I was not a man of the gods before, but in light of recent situations, I believe now that there are reasons for the things that have been happening. Reasons that this has become a nexus for strange magics and heroes alike. But I do not know our purpose here. I do not know how to right these wrongs that are occurring. I ask that you help me, that you guide my hand, that I may become an implement for good. Amen.
As you lean back, again, you feel that warmth from the stained glass window shining down on you. And you feel kind of like this tightness in your heart. It weighs on you a little bit.
Interesting.
Frank's like, it's a heart attack. You need to see a doctor.
The holy heart attack.
The holy heart attack.
That's Monty Python's new weapon. Instead of the holy hand grenade, it's a holy heart attack.
I think he gets up. Is there like a one of those like donation little like bowl things?
Yeah. At the end of the hallway by the door, there's like on the left side a little crevice that has some water in it. You're not sure what that's for. But next to it is a box and it has like a little slit in it. And it says on it, give unto those.
Buzz walks over to that and he takes 50 gold out of his coin purse thing.
50 gold? That is a lot of G's.
It's a lot of dosh.
Yeah, it's not like I'm handing that out either, so that's a lot of G's.
So generous.
Yeah, you put the 50 gold coins in there. It takes you a while, actually. You start putting them in there and you just hear the clinking of coins. The first time it takes a little bit longer, and then it hits where you hear the sound of perhaps it's hitting other change or other stone. And then you just keep dropping them until it sounds like you filled the yeah, you filled the box a little bit, and upon the final one that you toss in there, which is a much larger coin than the others, it's like 25 gold piece worth. You drop it in, and it doesn't take as long, and it clunks down, and it makes a loud shaking noise. The little crevice thing that had water in it, as you drop that in there, kind of shakes a little bit, and you see the ripples of water.
I don't know if Boz looks into it. I kind of want to. And Boz doesn't know that it'll be petrified, so I think he looks in it.
You're gonna look into the crevice with water?
Yeah.
You look down into it, and it's really small. It looks like water. It's kind of got like a different tint to it, though. Like it's not completely see-through. But you can see the brass tin that it's like being held in. You can see the bottom of it a little bit. Looks a little worn, like it hasn't been shined or cleaned in exactly like a very fine fashion. Just looks like water. You see your reflection a little bit in it.
Well, according to wild magic, upon seeing my reflection, I get petrified.
You look down into the water and slowly your face. What is the look on your face as you're looking into the water? As you look down at yourself, are you smiling? Are you? What is the look on your face?
Yeah, I think he's smiling a little bit, but he also looks a little pensive. He's thinking on this whole new thing that he's gotten himself into.
Yeah, you have like a slight smile, not like with all your teeth showing, but you're looking down and quizzically looking at it. And as you quizzically look at this, your face slowly starts turning into stone. You look down and you can see yourself turning into stone. Your body, and all of a sudden you can't move. You can see into the water, your reflection. You can't move. You can hear the church around you, the echoing of footsteps. They sound like they're getting faster. Roll me a perception check.
Man, my rolls.
They sound like they're getting faster and faster, and they stop. You can't hear anything else. Meanwhile, let's pan out. We're panning out as the jingle of the door opening of the Flipville Inn happens. And the warmth of the inn and the smell of delicious breakfast foods are being wafted into your face as you smell bread and cheese and fruits and porridge. It smells so divine. And you walk into the room, the light, this nice warm, dimly lit inn that you've been calling home lately.
Alexei will immediately hop up to the spot where he played last time and gets his instrument out. He's like, all right, it's time to earn my breakfast. And he plays.
The innkeeper, who's currently holding a jug of some sort, looks over and he sees that you're there and he gives you a nod. And he hurriedly goes over to put down the jug and runs over to get a glass of water and brings it over to you and slides it next to you so that you can ensure that you won't go thirsty while you are playing some music or whatever it is that you may be doing.
He nods his head, kind of clears his throat, takes some water, casts this spell.
An earthly chorus. Explain to us how that works.
So basically what it is because he's a composer, he just always infatuates the spells of music. And what Unearthly Chorus does is you pick a style of music, any kind of music, and it fills the air from up to 100 feet away. It just fills and flushes everything. And there's an optional thing of when you're in the spell, you can I can force a creature they can hear the music to make a charisma save, and if they fail the saving roll, they are friendly to me for an hour, and I can it's basically like a giant AoE friends thing, but I'm just using it just for the flair because I get to roll advantages and performance checks while the spell is up.
Okay, so you're not actually trying to like tame anyone.
I just want the friends.
All right, let's see how well your performance is.
Want the advantage roll.
15. Not as great as your previous performance, but still, this inn has not heard music this good in a very long time. You sit there on a stool and begin playing. What kind of song are you playing for us?
He's playing, since he's very tired from all the stuff, he's playing not a more exciting song, but a more relaxed, I wouldn't say morose, but more like just more song in minor, it's more like sounds like it's for a rainy day. You know, it's like sitting there. He has with the music, with the spell. He hears your piano playing, and he just takes his rapier out. You know, the magic engulfs it. And he starts just playing the violin, just very calmly, and just his eyes are closed, and it's just a very soft, simple piece that's meant to like just calm the nerves.
Yeah. And it does. All of you, as you watch on, if you choose to stay, the room is filled with this cacophony of soft music that resonates off the wood walls and ceiling inside of the inn. And everyone watches on as they're bemused. The tavern door opens quite a few times throughout the performance. People walking in and coming into the inn, sitting down at the chairs, many of them ordering food and drink, some people coming over and sitting at the bar and ordering drinks. Some turn to look and watch on, majority of them do, but others seem like they're engaged in conversation or looking at their meal or doing something else. But you do grab the attention of a majority of the room as well as your companions. And one of the barmaids, who actually gets very distracted watching, and the innkeeper actually has to like tap her on the shoulder and be like, you get paid here to work, not stand here.
He just winks at the barmaid.
She kind of slouches a little bit and blushes. Her freckles on her cheek turn a little bit red, and she puts her head down and quickly moves over to what she was supposed to be doing. What are the rest of you all doing? By rest of you, everyone but Baz.
Uthal is probably slowly making his way to like a chair, one that looks sturdy enough to hold him.
Yeah, all of them actually look sturdy enough to hold you.
Okay.
I think Roxy's making sure that he doesn't like fall or anything. Just kind of like help,
Yeah, like walking him, even though he's like huge. You're still like holding his giant arm that's like the size of two of your arms.
She's trying.
And
Actually, hey, Maggie, could I make this a song of rest for Uthal to help him feel a little better?
Yeah. If you guys aren't going to do anything, you're not going to do any like crazy action, you're just going to chill for an hour or so. Yeah. Everyone can roll hit die if you need health. Otherwise, it's kind of all you get.
It's just 1d6.
Yeah. Oh, and then plus 1d6. You can roll hit die and plus 1d6. If you need some heals.
I just wanted more flavor because we're going to be taking a rest anyways. It's like, oh!
Yeah, you all, not only do you feel like this music is just, sounds so lovely and soft and calming, and it just, part of you wants to sleep a little bit, and you feel rested.
I think Roxy's gonna.
Except for Uthal. I think Uthal probably still feels pretty tired.
Poor Uthal.
More tired than the rest of you, even though you are all tired because you just journeyed forever. But you feel less tired.
I think Roxy's gonna mutter to Uthal and be like, he's a bit new at the adventuring, but at least he can sing. Just kind of mutters.
I'm glad you kept him alive. We don't need any more friends disappearing.
Yeah. He's something.
I'm surprised that Roxy still thinks that, since Roxy would not have been able to, would have left and not have gone into the mausoleum, into the tomb.
It's begrudgingly. It's not like she's trying to be nice. It's very begrudgingly.
Gotcha. Okay.
She still thinks he's an idiot, but he's a useful idiot, so.
Fair enough. Yeah, and is there anything more that you guys would like to say to each other?
No, but Uthal's probably gonna get some food.
Yeah, you get some food.
Yeah.
they kind of come over and offer you a meal and place it down. There's like some mash and bangers.
Okay. Probably
I
after
think it's
the
the way
first.
I said it sounded weird.
Yep.
I can tell
I
if you
can't
were
keep a
saying
straight
food-
face. I'm like,
I wasn't sure
I
if you were
didn't-
talking about a food or trying to make a euphemism for something.
And then,
I mean,
and
it's both, but-
Don was like, it's a god and bangers.
See, after the first bite, Uthal's probably gonna set his fork back down and attempt to cast Dispel Magic on his tongue because all the food tastes like bile still.
yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, you put
Oh,
a spoonful in your mouth or a forkful or whatever your utensil, maybe it's your hands. You put that in your mouth and then immediately you have that taste of like vile, like gastric acid taste in your mouth. And
Ugh.
yeah, do you swallow it or do you spit it out?
I think he swallows it just to keep up an impression of health or getting betterness.
Yeah, you swallow this nasty vomit that is filling your mouth, and it feels like a burning coming down your throat. It's not pleasant.
in there.
Yeah.
Roxy, since you're so concentrated on taking care of him, you look over and it looks like, is he choking? No, he's fine. It looks like he's having trouble eating though.
I'm laughing at
Alright.
Mr. Frodo's comment.
I think someone had done that before. Spit or swallow. Hey, I'm just asking. I'm just asking. It was a valid question for the context of the situation, okay? But I did giggle a little bit internally.
It's just the sass. It's just the constant sass. It's okay.
Actually, right before Uthala is about to cast Dispel Magic on himself, on his like tongue, he's gonna put his hood up. Right before.
Put your hood back up, or put
Yeah.
your hood down.
Put his hood up. Because right now it's probably down.
Yeah, you put your hood up. The only thing that's left is like this clock that's on your forehead, embedded in it.
Roxy's probably looking at you inquisitively, like, "What are you doing?"
Okay. Maybe she'll see this then. So Uthal's gonna cast Dispel Magic on his tongue then.
Okay.
And then as he casts this, can I ask Roxy to do a perception check?
Sure.
I'm gonna pass it.
Roxy, do a perception
Oh.
check. Natty
I'm gonna
20.
pass
Roxy does a perception check. She looks over at you because she's been watching you. It's not like you're gonna disappear in front of her without her watching. She's watching intensely at you. She looks at you and she's like, "Are you okay?" Like she's quizzically looking at you as she thinks you're choking at first, and then she sees you're fine. You put your cloak up, and then she's just staring at you. And what happens? What are you doing?
As he casts this Dispel Magic on his tongue, around his head, hidden by the hood, are these blue flames that just wreath around his head and then disappear abruptly.
Yeah, for a moment you see trickling of flame in the front of his head. You don't see it in the back, but you see it in the front because he's got the cloak up. And then it flickers and it disappears. No one else seems to notice.
Then he'll go back to eating, as if nothing happened.
While Alexei's playing, does he see that person who had the emblem that was riding before?
Ooh, roll me a perception check. As you play your music and you're looking out at the crowd.
Dang it. Well, it's 11.
Yeah,
I
you
think
don't have
it's-
advantage. You have 11. You look out and you do see some people wearing cloaks. One of them has a similar color. It's like this navy blue wool. But as they turn, the clasp is different. It doesn't have that emblem on it that you recognize. You don't see her.
Alex is also just kind of like he'll once one song's finished, he goes, eats, then starts another song, stops, eats, kind of in the whole hour.
Yeah, the entire time, your plate is always full. Some like that barmaid
God.
who is actually looking at you from a distance has now somehow weaseled her way into being the one to bring you water and make sure that you have some ale if you choose, and making sure that you have your worth in bangers and mash, as that is what is on the menu for tonight.
She's my groupie. Oh no.
Yeah. You rolled
Better.
like a spell on the 100 feet of people. The bar is actually the most packed that this entire group has seen ever. People from all over town have come into the inn who you don't recognize either. There's
Bar life.
some interesting looking people.
It's like the best promoter, Bard life. Just play music and then people come.
I mean, hey, especially if you're gonna cast spells like that. Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to do as you?
I know Lexi just wants to go to bed after this. He promised though he'd play at least once a day for them to get his share. So that's why he's like, it's the next day. I have to pay my due. He does it, and then
In fact, you didn't pay for the day before.
he told me I didn't have to.
Oh, he said you didn't have to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gave him 2 gold for the entire 5 days, or rather, I was going to stay there. And he told me that as long as I play like that, I don't have to pay, and I can stay here every night.
Right. Okay, I forgot what I had said. Cool.
Yeah, you just I get food and stay as long as I play at least once a day.
Yep, that rhymed. You're a poet and you didn't even know it.
Hey,
So, what about Roxy and Uthal? What's your plan? Are you planning to stay very late into the evening as you're listening to music? It's starting to become 2, 3 p.m. Are you staying the entire time? Do you go in to sleep? Do you go somewhere else?
Do you go somewhere else? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I'm just asking. I don't want. I'm not putting you in a box. You have free reign to do what it is that you want to do.
She's not putting you in a box. She's putting you in a room.
A room is a
You
bigger
put
box.
yourselves in the room. I didn't put you there.
That's fair.
yeah, no,
You're like, wait. You're right. I did walk in here on my
You're all adults.
we're all consenting adults.
I think right now he's too tired to notice that Bass still hasn't come back. He would probably head to his room.
Yeah.
Yeah, as the evening winds down, and it becomes like that mid time between after lunch and after brunch and before dinner, it's like that midday time. You go in to take a rest. But before you all do, everyone roll me a wild magic, including Baz. And thank you to old Mr. Frodo for donating for 4 times wild magic. They didn't leave the tavern, but I'm assuming that this is just as good as that.
So, what's 1D? What's 1D 10,000, right?
1D 10,000. So
Oh,
we
no.
start with Baz.
Oh no.
Now I roll high.
Ooh,
I rolled higher.
Baz.
Yes.
This is like perfect for you, and it's hilarious. I don't know how RNG works, but it just fucking works. It's ridiculous. Baz, you're motionless. You can't move. You've been looking at this water tray for hours now. It's probably been 6 hours. You're looking down. The water doesn't even vibrate or move. At one point, you did see a hand kind of like motion in front of you. You couldn't quite make out the hand. It feels distant, like you're underwater. and people are talking, but you can't really understand them. I'm going off your 6th perception. It was bad. You can't hear anything, you can't see anything, but you do every once in a while see someone put their hand in front of you. You don't feel anything on your body or anything like that, but you can't move. And moments of panic occur with you, but you can't move. It's like you're panic and you're trying to breathe, but you don't feel you're breathing. It's so weird. Like, it's the weirdest experience. You want to talk, but you can't. You want to scream, but you can't. So you just stand there, motionless. Hours passing. And then all of a sudden, you feel something wash over you, and the cracks of stone crackle around you, and you're freed. And you take a gasp of air, and you breathe as Delilah, touching your shoulder like she's been there the entire time, grasps you gently, so gently that you can barely feel her fingertips as she touches you, and the stone slowly falls off you.
What?
I don't know. You were standing there and you were like a statue. What did you pray for?
Guidance.
Don't understand. She's like mumbling to herself, and she's like saying a bunch of words that you don't understand. It's like in some kind of weird language that you just... What languages do you know? Actually, first, before I say that.
I think I might just know Common and Orcish.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's definitely not Orcish. It's definitely not Common. Yeah, she's mumbling some words. They sound eloquent, but like harsh, but sweet. But it's because she's probably saying them profanely a little bit. Not profanely in the sense of like fuck shit. She's just like trying to like figure something out. Like she's frustrated. And you finally look around as you can feel your body, and to the left are just like 10 books. She's been sitting there like looking through books and trying to figure out how to get you out of this situation that you're in. And in one case, she actually has a book open, and the page has a statue on it, and it looks like you can't read any of it. It's all in another language. Maybe that's the language she was speaking.
I think he looks back at the water. There was a ripple in the water, and I looked to it.
She stops mumbling, and she looks at you, and then she looks into the water. Oh, rippling in the water? Like, was it different than a normal ripple in the water?
Was anything different, or?
You already did your perception before, so
Yeah.
I would say nothing was out of the ordinary for you.
Didn't seem unusual. It didn't seem to have a cause either.
So strange. And the camera pans out. Alexei, as you're playing music and you're settling down, the people who were drawn to you and kind of looking towards your music feel a sense of disconnect. All of you, actually. Roxy, Uthal, you feel a moment where your back or your forward, like whatever direction the music is coming from, you feel like a sudden dip in the music. And you don't feel like you want to look over that way. Like before, you were kind of drawn to the music and you could feel it vibrating and resonating off the walls, but now you don't. The woman who was catering to you, Alexei, she was holding a glass of water, and she drops it next to you, and she shakes her head. Oh, sorry. And she kind of goes down and like taking a rag and cleaning it up, and she shakes her head, and she doesn't even look at you. She walks away. And nines. How is this so perfect? RNG! How? She's cleaning up the water. The music stops. You drop your pretend because you're playing like a fake musical
it's a rapier. I said the rapier. It glows.
You drop your rapier on the floor. You back up. You push the chair over. It actually hits the like barmaid and she kind of tumbles backwards. And you have this sense of if water touches you, you're going to explode and combust. I don't know how that just happened perfectly with the barmaid dropping the water. Like, I did not plan that. I literally described it, then looked up his number, and I was like, how is this that perfect? You all look backward as you hear a stool, because you weren't looking that way. You hear a stool smack into the barmaid, and you see Alexei backed up. You see two gentlemen kind of standing forward, one of them helping up the barmaid, and the other one kind of standing like valiantly in front, like trying to be intimidating to try to intimidate Alexei, as Alexei's like cowering in fear. And then he realizes that, I'm assuming, Alexei, you're not trying to like battle her.
No, he's like just like he'd probably be panicked because it's weird. He's sitting there perfectly fine. Then all of a sudden, he has a random phobia to water out of nowhere.
Yeah,
he's very confused.
And the guy like at first is like he's gonna try to punch you, and then he sees that you actually look horrified, and he puts his fist down, and he's like, he kind of like motions his hand on. He's like, "Are you okay, buddy?" And as he's doing that, Uthal, that's a horrifying number, 9866.
Just do mine last.
How short is he this time?
he gets more veins.
Oh my god, it doesn't affect your size. Thank you, Scraticus, so much. Before I say this, thank you, Scraticus, so much for the host of 20 viewers. Welcome to you all. I hope you had a wonderful day of tabletop RPG. We are currently playing Dungeons and Dragons for the kids at St Jude. These are all my fellow space Vikings. We change out. We basically have a permanent world, and we have an ever-breathing world that lives through all the campaigns and all the characters. So every week we have a new group of people who come in, and they all start in the same town and affect the world around. Sometimes we progress the story. It just depends on where we're at. To the right is how you can be part of it and help the kids at St. Jude. We have already raised over $7,000, which is just amazing. But over here, if you do exclamation point St. Jude in the chat, you can provide any one of these benefits to one of the players. Make sure you say what the benefit is, as well as who you'd like it to go to. Otherwise, I will decide who it goes to and what it is in some of the cases, like the natty 1 or natty 20. But as this gentleman goes to reach out towards Alexei as he's cowering in fear, and it's like, "Are you okay?" Uthal, the ground below you starts trembling just underneath your chair. Roxy, you're looking on as this is happening and the chair is shaking. There's heat underneath you. And the ground just continues to tremble. And it heats up and it gets hotter and hotter. And you see the wood warping. I'll tell you what happens in a little bit. I'll tell you what happens in a little bit.
Okay.
I like to think that when Uthal notices it, he just goes,
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, you feel the wood tremble below you, and Roxy, you're looking on as this is happening. Do you want to do anything?
She's probably too confused to really know what's going on. She'll probably back up a little, probably from Uthal.
Yeah, you back up. You back up. Move your chair behind you. Uthal, what are you gonna do?
Probably just gonna sit there. He's too tired for this.
You sit there, and the ground continues to shake. The heat from the ground and the wood starts warping until all of a sudden explosive combustion comes out from the bottom of your chair. The wood from the floor breaks open and your chair breaks into pieces. I guess roll me a dex check, like a dex save, You don't move. You're still sitting there. The chair goes splintering up into up. You hit your head on the top of the roof. For let's see.
I just got him back. I don't want to lose him.
For 5 damage, and then you come falling down on top of the wood. The heat hitting your slate skin, and you also take 8 damage as like the wood from the chair splinters into parts of your rocky skin. Meanwhile, I'm gonna need a dex save from Roxy as well.
Alright. It's gonna go
Because you're kind of right near it.
Got the band get back together, then they die.
Roxy, you... Seriously, I could not have planned this any better. Like, Mr. Frodo, I don't know how wild magic keeps doing this, but it's like perfect. It's perfect. Uthal, your wild magic was basically that the ground below you trembled with heat and then combusted. Roxy, you stand there and you get back far enough where you're able to like back away from any major damage or anything like that. But some of the little bits of wood from the chair and the ground come flinging towards you. You try to dodge, but you're not able to, as you take 3. That's pretty good. I rolled a 1. 3 damage.
Hey.
And as you take 3 damage from the wooden bits and pieces, the wounds from this are invisible until the next dawn. Your roll for wild magic was any wooden weapon that wounds the targets are invisible until dawn.
And it just had to be wood.
I just don't know how more perfect those wild magics could have been in a storytelling situation than just what happened. The water thing was the most weird. Like, how ironic was that? What? And we're going to pan the camera back over to Alexei as this tall, orcish man is reaching out to you, and he's like, Are you okay?
I don't know. All of a sudden, I just got afraid of water. I just don't need to be near water right now. I don't. Okay. Good night. And he just like walks away into
water. And as you're walking away, roll me a perception check.
What are you afraid of?
What are you? What are you afraid of?
All these low rolls.
Thank
tonight.
goodness that's a low roll, because that was a roll to see how many water cups you saw as you were walking by.
God.
You're just too freaked out and nervous and afraid for your life that you might explode if water touches you or is near you, that you are like up against the wall. And you guys all see this. You see Alexei up against the wall, doesn't even pick up their dagger. Their dagger's still sitting on the floor in the inn, and goes to the back of the room.
He would pick his rapier up.
Okay, he'd pick his rapier up.
Pretty,
He'd get close to the water to pick up his rapier.
It's very unfortunate pun, instrumental to his stuff. So,
All right, I'll allow it. You pick up your you kind of shyly.
Yeah, it would be like
yeah,
like shaking, like getting it.
And the guy, the orc is just watching you, like what are you doing? You actually like lean against the wall and you use your foot extended as far as you can to move the dagger closer to you, and then you reach down and you pick it up. You're still up against the wall, and then you slowly shimmy your way along the wall, looking around in fear of water as you walk your way back into the your
fear
room.
and confusion. He's like, "What the fuck is going on, too?"
Roll me one more perception check.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Lord, it's gonna be another 8. It's the night of 8.
You got this.
No, it's a 9. Haha.
You walk into your room and you do whatever you want.
And the barmaid is suddenly there out of nowhere. I was like, wait, what?
And
Plot choice, water elemental.
everything that you thought would be there is there. And we pan back over, and the camera pans down at Uthal, who's laying on the ground, bits of wood chucked into his body as he's laying there. The ground below slowly cooling off, and Roxy standing there while feeling some kind of pain, but looking in the spots of pain and not seeing anything. Roxy, in fact, if you want, you can pull out some of the wooden bits, and you don't see anything.
Sure.
You don't think you're hurt necessarily. Doesn't look like it.
Okay.
But you feel it.
Well,
She's gonna go over to Uthal and check and see if he's okay.
Yeah.
that was different.
Yeah, that was. Are you all right though?
A little disoriented, but I'll be fine. Not
Okay.
too much.
As you say this, you see to the left of you, there's another gentleman helping the barmaid clean or like helping her up. She's finished cleaning the ground, and there's people all around kind of standing back and looking at actually the two of you. There's probably like 10 people just staring at you all.
Roxy's probably gonna be like a little noticeably uncomfortable by the amount of people staring at him. We should probably retire for the night.
That sounds like a good idea.
As you walk over to head towards your room, before you can get to even the hallway, the innkeeper stands before you, and he's like, "Where do you think you're going? Look what you did to my inn."
I am sorry. Uthal hands him 29 gold.
This doesn't fix it.
I don't
But-
know what happened.
What do you mean you don't know what happened? You were sitting right there, and then
The
That
floor
happened.
exploded below me.
maybe it's you. Maybe you're the one bringing this.
Perhaps.
on now.
If you think that, I shall leave.
Hold
He
on
looks-
now. We can't just be jumping to conclusions. This town has been suffering through a lot of crazy stuff happening. Why just assume it's him?
He looks down to the left and down to the right and looks around his inn, and he's like, it's like you gave him a moment of clarity, and he like rethinks about it all, and he's like, "Sorry, I was upset. Thank you. This will pay for it. More than enough. I'm sorry. I was just very upset."
It is
And he
okay.
kind of backs off. Mostly because he knows what the two of you have done already, so it's not like he can fight you. And he backs away, and he takes the gold and he shoves it into a drawer with like a bunch of other stuff, and then he looks like he's writing furiously on a piece of paper. He hands it over to some other person who quickly grabs it, puts it in a satchel, and you see him rush out of the door. And you see some other people kind of cleaning the ground and trying to clean up the area, the space that's in there. And you both can walk into your bedrooms if you choose.
Roxy's probably gonna make sure Uthal gets to bed okay,
He's
obviously.
gonna go in Uthal's room first.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Uthal, you start walking towards your room, and Roxy's kind of watching over you and trying to make sure that you're safe. And the two of you kind of stand there as Uthal opens the door, and the door to his room is open, and you look in, and there's the lights off.
In the distance, you hear. No.
I wish.
It's just Alexa down the hall.
Playing Careless Whisper.
He's looking over, and then he like picks back. No, just kidding.
Trying to be a concerned friend to y'all over here, like, now kiss.
I know. We're ruining the perfect moment. Sorry.
No,
I'll
you're
paint the
fine.
scene for you again. We thought you open the door, you look in, it's dark. You look back, and Roxy's kind of standing there
Thank you, Roxy.
Of course.
I shall retire for the night.
Okay.
He goes to hug Roxy.
Okay. She hugs back.
How long is this hug? Is it like a quick embrace? Is it like a bear hug where you like, you know, you give it a good warmth?
It's a pretty long hug.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
like a minute or so.
Yeah, you embrace, and Roxy, you're quite smaller than Uthal, so you try to you wrap your hands around, but you can't quite make your hands all the way around him because he's a Goliath. He's huge, and he wraps his arms around you, and it almost feels like it's like a little cocoon because his arms are so large as he wraps them around you. And the two of you stand there and embrace as we pan the camera out and we see the horns of the tiefling and barely visible under the arms of a large Goliath hugging her. And the camera pans back up into the ceiling and back out from the inn. We see the moon shining brightly. And that's where we're going to end it today.
Yay.
So there we go.
Did you just fade to black us?
Yeah, I faded to black. I want to leave it up to the imagination of what happens next.
You still hear careless whispers.
I'm sure it's just you end the hug and you walk into your rooms because you both are boring, but we don't know.
Hey.
Just kidding. One more thing.
Oh.
We faded black on that. The moon, the camera's panning at the moon. The moon is now shining in to the chapel. And there is Baz and Delilah on the ground looking over mountain of books as they're searching through it. Do you want to say anything to her, Baz? Are you going to head off to bed or...
He stays with her, yeah, as she's looking over the books, probably looking over some himself. After a little bit of silence, I think without looking at her, he just says, "Thank you."
I didn't do anything.
Didn't you?
I don't believe I did. I tried to get your attention, but it didn't seem like you could do anything.
I'm unsure what brought me back. But you stayed. And you tried to help.
What was
And
the
I
last line you said?
You stayed. And you tried to help. And I think you did.
She kind of looks kind of confused and then looks back up into your eyes and says, maybe, or maybe... She looks back up at the mural, and the two of you look up at the mural as the moon is shining through it. And she says, maybe it's someone else.
He just kind of smiles and looks back to the book.
You look back to the book, and the moon is shining down upon it. You still can't read what's on the book. Have you been pretending that you could read? Or were you just looking for the pictures? You're like, this one looks familiar.
Maybe he's just like trying to see if anything in it seems familiar or...
Yeah, roll me an investigation at disadvantage, because you don't know the language.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you are unable to find anything. You look down at the book and it's a page of a woman. She's touching a stone. And then you flip the page again and it looks like the woman is now pregnant. And that's what you see. As Delilah moves her hand over her ear, moving her hair behind so it's not in her face, and looks down and picks up another book. And the two of you sit there in the moonlight, sifting through the books. And that's where we're going to end it for real for tonight. All right. I hope you guys had fun. I enjoyed this. We knew that today was going to be a pretty RP heavy night. There was a possibility where if someone did provide a threat, I had some ideas of what was going to happen. So we could have had some kind of combat occur. But I actually really did enjoy the interesting RP session. Thank you so much, Old Mr. Frodo, for the $60 donation towards the wonderful kids over at St. Jude. It really helps a ton. Basically, every kid that goes to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital does not pay a single dime, not even for staying there, whether it's a day, an hour, or up to like 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Children and their families don't pay a dime, not even for food, not for stay, not for any other treatment. It's amazing what St. Jude offers. So you are helping a fantastic cause, and make sure that you write those off on your taxes because you can. Over here is how much we've raised tonight, which is $7,134.50. So thank you so much for all of you who have donated all throughout the many, many weeks. We still have a long ways to go. Our goal is $25,000 this year. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel rather than watching it here live, or if you're just tuning in right now, we do upload these on YouTube if you want to come back and check. There's many, many episodes available over at youtube.com/MargaretKrohnPlays, and the link will be down below where you can donate if you're watching this on the VOD. Otherwise, you can do !St Jude in chat, and it will give you a link. Without further ado, we're going to go around the table and around the spaceships, and each of them will say their farewells before we go into hyperdrive, and we do a little raid and share the love as we always do every night. So first of all, thank you so much, Stan, for joining tonight. I love Baz. He's so awesome. I'm glad that you looked into the water, because that just made it really interesting, and I can't believe wild magic just worked in your favor. Any final words for the evening, and where can people find you at?
Well, thanks for having me on. This is always so much fun. And I think for the last couple of times I've been on, I forgot to say thanks to the donators. So, thank you guys. It's awesome. Other than that, you can follow me on Twitter if you want at S_Delone.
I think I have your name wrong here. I have it Stan. Oh my god. It's been
That's
like that for
Delone.
weeks.
It's
Oh no.
Delone Stan. I'm not sure who they are.
Is there actually another person named that?
Yes.
Oh
yeah,
no.
it's backwards.
Yeah, I checked.
That's hilarious. I hope that person's getting people messaging them.
They're just like, yo, what about Baz? They're just like, what?
It's funny because I always see his posts or his like retweets and stuff, so I don't know how I'm messing that up. My brain is fried. Sorry.
It happens. This week I'm going to give a shout out to one of the people I follow on Twitter. They go by @BlindTemple, spelled just how you think. He is a blind gamer, and he tweets a lot of stuff about